Ok, linces cósmicos, continuamos desde donde lo dejamos. 42. Este yo prefiero tal vez hacerlo. Bueno, ahorita vemos. ¿Qué era la MCR?
Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol, Detective.
Yes, we are the Revachol Citizens Militia.
He's being sarcastic.
¿De verdad?
We are.
¿Ha dicho de facto?
Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin.
Entonces eso es de lo que soy parte.
Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are to me is the police, the only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I am here
No sé
to
si
help.
pedirle esto a Kim. ¿Se sentirá triste si le digo?
Good idea. Just ask him. He won't make a scene.
Kim, ¿puedo hablar con la señora a solas un segundo?
Fine.
See? What can he do? You're a grown man.
¿Y bien qué es la palidez?
Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant.
Sí, ¿qué es la palidez?
Okay. The pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass.
Espere, ¿qué es la insola?
Isla is a Messinian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the pale. Also, isolation, or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we have discovered 7.
O sea, isola como continentes.
Windy, Seol, Samara, Ilmara, Grad, Katla, and this, Insulinde.
E Insulindia
An
es...
oceanic isla. It comprises mostly of water. Muindi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulinde the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear.
Bien, ¿cómo es la palidez?
Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness.
¿Está aquí?
No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west.
No lo entiendo muy
You
bien.
are
¿Es
in the
oscuridad?
middle
¿Es
of the
materia?
isla.
As your gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach.
¿A 6,000 kilómetros del fin del mundo?
Yes. That is enough. Many cities are built much closer.
¿Y señalar hacia el norte ahí?
An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. The great vision. The area of transition between the world and the pale is called porch collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
¿Cuáles son sus cualidades físicas?
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible.
Se me figura como la niebla de Silent Hill, no sé. Si estamos rodeados de la palidez, ¿cómo se va de isola a isola?
Oh, it is so difficult for us. It is possible to force dimensions on the pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude. bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost or having our minds damaged.
¿La palidez daña la mente?
Extensively.
¿Cómo?
Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
Who says and who argues?
¿Cómo es ese exceso? Bueno, ahorita. ¿Quién lo dice y quién lo
The
discute?
logical positivists say, the dialectical materialists argue.
¿Cómo es ese exceso de radiación?
It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
Usted no es un pasajero civil.
No nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Entrepreneutic business class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
Perhaps that explains her strange pining after the revolution. Some degraded early memories. Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
La que encontramos. ¿Los camioneros cruzan la palidez?
Yes, carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
O sea que te expones y te hacen mal.
You should ask the pal driver about this. See what she says. That poor woman must have stories to tell, like you wouldn't imagine.
Entroponauta. ¿Quién era la antroponauta? Me suena. Nada más que no lo recuerdo. Ha de ser la viejita. ¿Usted está sobre irradiada?
Up to my gills, officer.
O sea que te da radiación. ¿Qué significa entroponético?
Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
They had not traveled the entire circumference of the Pericarnassian Super E Solar. It was not merely in the west, it was everywhere, even then, surrounding them.
¿La cruzaron? ¿Cruzaron la llanura occidental?
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years.
Entonces, ¿qué ha cambiado la entroponética?
Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later.
¿Embarcaciones aerostáticas?
Hybrid airships, detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end, if we throw them precisely.
Como una resortera. ¿Y si no se da el caso?
Then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
¿Cuánta palidez hay comparada con el terreno material?
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping.
¿Decayendo? ¿Cómo? ¿En nuestra contra o...?
What do you think, detective?
Está creciendo, cada vez hay más palidez.
Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists.
¿Cubrirlo todo? No, no puede ser. ¿A dónde iríamos?
Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
Qué extraño la realidad de este mundo.
Off we go. You see the hanging man's mouth open.
Nos adentramos en el salvaje pálido de más allá.
One and all. They say pale is death, but for the universe.
Why should we just leave, and the world get left behind?
Volvamos a la realidad, por favor.
Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything?
A veces siento vagas sombras de un pasado, lo cual no es nada bueno.
Then tell me, what do you think of the Pale?
El hecho de que sigamos persistiendo es un testimonio de nuestra fe en los demás.
You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then...
Esta investigación será mi obra maestra, aquello por lo que me recordarán. Lo prometo.
I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile...
Some of that assurance is meant for herself, as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here.
You have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
Good. You have not passed out from it. Perhaps I worried for nothing. Are we still on the reality lowdown, or should we do actual police work now?
No tenías de qué preocuparte.
But I did. Anyway.
Damn it, you're a grown man, the lieutenant thinks. Shouldn't have gotten protective hair.
Repasemos esta realidad algo más antes de marchar.
I am happy to oblige.
Creo que ya es todo. Eso es todo por el momento.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
Gracias, eso es todo por ahora. Antes que nada, ¿cuántos puntos tenemos? Ya tenemos 3. Vamos subiendo bien, buenos puntos por el momento. No sé si subirle más de vida, creo. Podría ser, tenemos 3 puntos. A ver, 3 puntos. Podría utilizar un punto de una vez para desbloquear uno de estos de pensamiento, para cuando nos venga uno chido, o 2, y el otro gastarlo en vida, pues, en salud. Me dejó pensando la señorita. Palidez. Vamos a ver. Encuentra tu arma. Ajá. La hora del karaoke. Todavía no lo hemos encontrado. Ah, si no tenemos dinero todavía. Ah, no, ese sí ya lo pagamos, creo, pero a las 9 hay que pagarle a este cuate. Pasadas las 21 horas. Tenemos que regresarnos al Whirling en friega entonces. Porque son las 8. Eso todavía no. Ya van a ser las... Uy. Vamos, Kim. Hay que ir al Whirlig a negociar que me dejen estar ahí. No invente. Sí, porque si no creo que ya no nos deja entrar. Y pues ¿dónde nos podemos quedar a dormir? Señorita leyendo tan en la penumbra y en la noche. Vamos, Kim. Vamos a hablar con Garte. ¿Podemos hablar con la señorita? No, primero con Garte.
Can I help you?
En cuanto a mi factura de esta noche...
Got the 20 real?
20. Otra, es que no vamos a... Aún no.
Then why are you wasting my time and yours?
Creo que va a valer gorro, ¿eh?
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
Bloqueado todavía. Oye, ¿quién cómo voy a pagar?
Yes?
Creo que... Nada. Karaoke todavía no se puede.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real?
Está bloqueada.
Then
Aún no.
why are you wasting my...
Adiós. También tengo poca vida. O sea, está todo del carajo. No estamos tan bien. Podría empeñar algo, pero me preocupa que empeñe algo que sí es importante. Esta no, la vamos a necesitar. Esta aún no sé. Tendría nada más 5. Esto sería bueno, pero es muy caro. Por algo lo debemos de guardar. Esta postal casi no nos da nada. Esto también no lo quiero empeñar todavía. Esto tampoco. También se me ocurre entrevistar al que estaba aquí, este conductor.
A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up as he goes.
Seguiré escuchando.
From another planet. Hey there.
Soy la ley.
You sure are, my man.
Yes. People get that you are the law. You really don't have to keep saying it.
¿Qué se cuece por aquí?
It's the jam, my man.
Como que un asco de
It's
atasco.
a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates up the street are shut tight. No explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating, an all-around clusterfuck. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days.
El limbo, ¿eh? Así que ahí es donde estoy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's official. He too agrees. This is the antechamber of the afterlife.
Entonces, ¿cuánto tiempo llevas
Feels
aquí?
like forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fumes of mazout.
Mazout is an antiquated term for heavy fuel oils. This man has a barely suppressed performative streak. Or he just likes unusual words. Or both.
Me mola tu rollo, colega.
Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week already.
Behind the laugh, however, a touch of sorrow.
So tell me, what do you need?
¿Tiene algo de suelto para un currante que no llega a fin de mes?
Oh. No, I ain't got any money. They don't want to pay for unfinished work.
¿No quieren?
The
¿Quiénes?
bosses, man.
Así, no sé quiénes se creen que son esos jefes, pero parece un buen acuerdo para ellos.
Yeah, it sure ain't good for me. Or you. I'd spare a coin or two for a city cop down in his luck. If I had saved 4 myself.
Cuéntame más acerca de esta
It's like,
huelga.
whatever's going on over at the docks. Workers got a blockade set up, making demands, no way in or out.
¿Cuáles son las exigencias del
Some
sindicato?
pretty wild stuff, I hear. Like a giant new power crane in half the company? I forget what exactly. Good on them, I guess. I've heard talk there's a company rep in town, too. Like a strike negotiator type. They'd know what's up. Precise demands and so on.
¿Qué crees que quiere la
They want to
empresa?
keep that money flowing in, my man. Ka-ching.
He doesn't blame them, but he's not on their side. That's for sure.
¿Algo más que deba
Anything
saber?
else? Yeah, this ain't really my area of expertise. I just do my job and get paid. I have things to do and places to be. All of us do.
Todos quienes.
Us lorry drivers. Camionneurs. You still hang around here waiting for this mess to end. Most have scurried off somewhere to get drunk or high. Or laid. Not that I blame them, really.
¿Y tú
Not
no?
my thing. Chasing transient pleasures is a drag these days. I prefer the examined life now. Thinking, reflecting, observing.
¿Qué transportas?
High-grade narcotics, illegal firearms, stuff like that.
Relax. He's merely joking.
De miedo. Siempre quise tener un amigo de los bajos
Ha,
fondos.
no, I'm joking, my man. Found runs a nice, clean business. This haul of cargo is mostly sporting goods. You know, tracksuits and that kind of thing. They usually get shipped to Grad and the Occident. Though we've been making headway in the Il Moran market lately.
Podría, bueno, sí. Podría quedarme con uno de esos chandales de Falm que
We're pals and
transportas.
all, but I can't just freely hand out the merchandise. The bosses won't be happy.
Entonces no llevas nada
Not
ilegal.
unless they've illegalized sports equipment while I was on the road.
¿Esa máquina es
It's
tuya?
rockin' beauty. Sure is. Like a rash you can't get rid of. You interested in heavy-duty cargo machinery?
A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Caillou and neighboring islands. This one looks roughed up enough to be some sort of found rust bucket. Maybe the A6.
Eso de ahí es un
Good eye, my
FALNA-6.
man. Yup, she's an old one, but reliable. Me and her spent a long time together.
There it is again. A little touch of sadness beneath his cool. He thinks he's spent too long in this lorry.
Vale, tengo otra
The
pregunta.
man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
Pareces saber un par de cosillas sobre
Ah,
drogas.
man. Me and narcotics go way back. Had some good times surfing the psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know? But those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now. Why the inquiry, my man?
Just be straight with him.
Ok. Te seré sincero. Intento descubrir quién está pasando drogas desde la terminal
We
B.
have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbor to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock.
Not me, man. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed toward a conflagration.
¿Quién crees que podría estar detrás del tráfico de
Look, man,
drogas?
I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire. It's not a lie. It's something else. Impossible to say What, at this point?
A ver si
But
la
there's
hacemos.
something in him. Some trepidation.
¿Qué ves en sus ojos?
Ease into it. Don't go too far. This seems like a personal matter.
Pareces un poco triste, hombre. ¿Qué
You
te
really
ocurre?
are the law, aren't you? I get that being bluntly observant and inquisitive comes with the territory, but it certainly doesn't help with your conversational skills, does it?
Maybe the full-on, direct approach wasn't correct. Damn. It's tricky business looking into someone's eyes and not doing it wrong.
¿Cómo escuchó? ¿De más alto o bajo? Bueno, eso es todo por ahora. Buena
Don't
charla.
be a stranger.
A ver, vamos a ver lo de la estatua de nuevo.
An old monument stands in the middle of the
Está
traffic
bloqueada.
light.
Me lleva. Ah, o la de la viejita. Que creo que al parecer ella sí ha viajado por la llamada palidez. Ya ni me acordaba.
Lowman, you caught me at an opportune moment. This awful weather keeps me awake. You can entertain me with your questions.
Creo que ya sé de qué va
And
esto.
what is that?
Es entroponauta. Transporta mercancía a través del pálido.
Great. He asked the bank's rep about the bail, and now he's talking to everyone about it. Fine then. Just try not to black out again, and don't contemplate. We don't have time for that.
Todo está relacionado con el pálido. Mi estado, el caso, todo. Todo es
That is
entroponético.
exactly what I didn't want you to think. Ma'am, my partner wanted to know if you work in pale transport.
No offense. But your partner? Seems like a bit of an idiot.
Caí inconsciente tras beber toda la noche y he perdido todo el recuerdo de este mundo.
Like Gabriel Buenguerro in Pergunte a Poeira. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything. Even things I never knew.
Cosas que nunca
The
supo.
smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot. In the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation. On the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling piece when Dolores Day was shot. The look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest. My hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father. And I never shot her innocent Dolores Day.
¿Es por la sobreexposición?
Heroic doses, Hervia. Heroic.
O sea que puede que esté irradiada. ¿No resulta
Thought
peligroso?
insertion, dithering, the Grad Catalan Magistral. It's more than dangerous. It's sad. But at first I had to make a living. Now, when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this. What are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor.
¿Cómo es el pálido? ¿Qué aspecto
Like looking
tiene?
into the ocean at night, in the dark. You
Y-
cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined.
¿Qué se siente?
Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, gray, and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets in the electric light. It smells like autumn too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear. She loves it.
¿Cómo se viaja a través
in the
de él?
belly of an airship, behind the stair windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it.
Pensaba que viajaba en este
No,
camión.
the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold.
The wheels all small and round, multi-axle trailers.
Una última cosa. Dice que podríamos evaporarnos.
Yes.
No elaboration.
Siento que tengo lo que usted tiene en cierto modo.
They say there is a point, one that I have not crossed. In the Pale, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home. No, it's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale. Maybe you've been down the motorway south?
La autopista
It's a
sur.
story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Jerife, not Pell drivers. Way beyond the established Pell that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent and dark, and the process begins, erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from.
¿Qué hay al final de la autopista sur?
No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning.
Espérenme, ahorita vengo. He vuelto, disculpen la demora. Es que tocaron a la puerta y como vivo con una gente mayor, pues no tengo que abrir yo y ver lo del dinero y no sé qué. Entonces
I've only felt
continuamos.
it in the distance when I was a child. A child rowing on the lake.
Señora,
Josiane.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away. She is receding in the clutches of some indescribable scattered emotion. A child descending.
You've fried both your brains enough for today, detective. Let's get some air. This one's far gone.
un coche extranjero bien conservado. Pone GPIR. El gran puerto industrial rebasó.
Bastards! We have a right to work!
Otra vez.
Yeah.
Soy la ley.
People get that you are the law. You really don't have to keep saying it.
Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down.
¿Por qué haría tal
We're
cosa?
here to fight for a cause. Stripes usually have problems with people who have causes.
Vale, entonces supongo
Good.
que no.
We're fighting for a cause here.
Right to work! Right to work!
Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence.
¿De qué clase de causa estamos
Rights
hablando?
of people. Rights of workers. To have gainful employment. To make a salary. And feed their families.
His manner of speaking is wooden, the tone of voice bland and uninspired, almost as if compiling replies from a set of learned phrases.
Que yo sepa, aún no me he decidido por
Might be
ningún
time.
bando.
Don't let the fat bastards tread on you. Cops tend to side with the higher-ups, but you're essentially still workers. I don't trust cops, but I can see you understand the
Right to work! Right to work!
Sea como sea, tengo que hacerte
Maybe you
algunas
should
preguntas.
ask them the questions, like why we're not allowed to make a living here.
Shame on you!
We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scott.
¿Y todos estos esquiroles quiénes son? Mirar a tu
Honest
alrededor.
men and women with rights to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests.
We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If union fucks don't want work, they ought to let in those who do want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were
Given a job to do!
Lo que necesito es hablar con el jefe del
have
sindicato.
fun. Union shits are on full strike. Don't think they're going to let you through the gates. Why you want to meet that fat asshole?
Estoy interrogando a la gente acerca del asesinato que tuvo lugar detrás del hotel cafetería.
I know nothing about a murder.
The mention of a killing sends a barely noticeable shiver of tenseness through me. Interesting.
Nada de
Wouldn't put it
nada.
past these harbor bugs. They'd do anything to stay alive. Right to work! It's shameful. Cops doing nothing. You should bring backup. Open up the gates for us. Blockading gainful employment for workers is a crime.
No
We're
sé.
not picking a side in this just yet, sir.
Pity. Let us work!
¿Qué es una
When a
huelga?
bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people.
¿Y qué buscan los
Beats me.
huelguistas?
They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we have the right to work!
There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting.
¿Que no encajan? ¿Eso qué
His shirt
significa?
is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence.
¿Estás
He
estrenando ropa?
ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. The clothes are obviously not his. Silence is the answer. There's something off here, but he won't say what. You've been
Obviamente.
talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy. Ask him where he's from.
¿Va? Hay algo que me tiene mosca, y si no te lo pregunto, reviento. ¿De dónde eres
What's it to
exactamente?
you?
Es simple curiosidad. A ver si puedo resolver este follón de
Big
la huelga.
mess caused by union greed. But I only fight rights of people.
Every once in a while, it's like you can see glimpses of another guy under the guise of this fighter for jobs. He seems a more brutal, cunning, and suspicious person. Just a hunch. Or you just might be paranoid.
Eso me ha quedado claro. Lo que me interesa es tu
We're all
biografía.
workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain. Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs. Heavy lifting. Cargo hauling. Bouncer work. I know the drill.
Genial, yo conozco unos cuantos sitios. Me han echado de algunos. Tal vez por eso me resultas
Quartet.
familiar.
Territorial. Ring a bell.
No me suena. ¿Por qué me da que
We're
me
done
estás
here.
mintiendo?
I have a strike to break. Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
Oye, tipo duro,
Things
tengo
are
más
busy
preguntas.
enough. You're going to waste less of my time?
The hulking
Tal
man
vez.
oozes stark skepticism.
¿Qué se supone que pretendes
We
conseguir
were promised
exactamente?
work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates.
¿Y no
Main
podrías
gate's
forzar la
locked.
entrada?
Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open, and try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guards blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is.
Espera,
Huge some
¿y
of
de
these guys
cabezas?
standing up there on the overhead passage. Won't let anyone by. The access panel is right behind him.
¿Tanta historia por un solo hombre? Yo diría que puedes
Ah.
encargarte de él.
Standing on a narrow bridge, he's got a strategically advantageous position. And he's trained. I don't know how the Union has a trained killer up there. But that one's no joke. And my men are tired and hungry. They're workers, not fighters.
¿Por qué no pruebas a
Like
hablar con
civilized
ellos?
folk, you mean? These native fucks don't understand civilized.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then, we charge.
Yo ya me he ido. Qué extraño.
Scab?
You're hazy on the notion of a scab. Smells like politics, though. Maybe it's got something to do with the flask he reaches for from time to time.
¿Qué es un esquirol
A kind of a
exactamente?
worm, content with mere survival. They come, they want to do our job for shittier pay, screwing over both themselves and us. Everybody loses.
Un momento, ¿de
With
dónde han
me,
salido?
Somewhere in the ground, I think.
No parece que te caigan
Gotta be
demasiado
bloody
bien.
stupid or freaking evil to Scab. Or I guess scared maybe. But scared of what? Of who? Personally, I'd rather beg than scab. If the gentleman shouting on the street came begging, maybe they'd have gotten something.
¿Has intentado hablar con
explain the
ellos?
matters, but they don't listen. This lot would be reasonable and go home if the big guy wasn't riling them up all the time.
Big guy. He means the leader of the scabs.
No soy un esquirol, soy
I was just
policía.
messing with you. No one's ever seen a cop scab. Imagine, you cops going on a strike, but then another cop comes in and says, "Let us cop for less money." Speaking of, what brings the RCM here? To the wild north? Come to see the strife?
Oye, tú eres el de las botas. Kuno dice que sabes algo de la armadura.
The little boy had the good on his promise. To get
¿Su
me
promesa?
into trouble. To sick the pigs on me. Pardon the choice of words. Not mine.
What happened?
I was asked to look into that armor situation. Official union probe, you know. Track it down, see who took it.
Did you?
At first I thought, why not? Maybe the pieces can feed the strike. Buy us a few more days under the sun, you know? So I went to this boy. He said he'll make me his prison bitch. He's got eyes everywhere, the cops in his pocket, and he's the king of Jamrock. Serves me right for doing menial footwork. I dropped that probe right then and there, and it still got me into trouble. One bad move is all it takes.
¿Sacaste algo en claro al rastrear
I
la
learned
armadura?
that people don't want to talk to a drunk union man about some armor.
What else?
Not much. Technical stuff mostly. That was the interesting part.
¿Y Kuno nos ha utilizado
It's a
para
minor
asustarte?
nuisance. It's all good.
¿Qué clase de movidas?
I did some research into this armadura. Let's say I have friends at the library. I didn't get into the material science, just how it comes off.
How does it come off?
In parts. 4 in total. The helmet was the first to go. The kid says he tore it off and kicked it into the sea. I believe him. The boots were still on the guy last I saw. Too hard to remove. So, as I count, there are 2 parts missing. The gauntlets and the cuirass. This is where I left off. Too much hassle. More like a job for some militia.
Un momento, 4 piezas, casco, coraza, guantes, botas. ¿Y qué pasa con las
Oh, they're just
perneras?
gone. They don't exist anymore, if they ever did at all. Forget about them. I did.
Soy ambicioso, voy a encontrarlas todas.
All
Todas
of
las
it?
piezas.
There are junior officers out there, eager to prove themselves. I would leave some for them, but okay. Let's find all of it.
It's implied he finds it unlikely that you will succeed in this.
And Mesqui's epic there, all across Martinez. I hope it will be a real bonanza for you.
Gracias
No
por tu
problem.
colaboración.
If you see that kid, thank him from Call Me Mañana. Thank him for showing me the way.
He is sincerely grateful he is not tracking down pieces of armor right now.
Tengo que entrar y hablar con tu jefe.
Good, good. What matters do you want to discuss with Everard?
Podría disponer de información acerca de un asesinato que tuvo lugar detrás del
Everard's got a lot
hostal.
of knowledge about a lot of things, eh? Doesn't often dole it out, though. But sure, why not?
Eso quiere decir que me vas a
I
dejar
don't
pasar.
operate in that capacity. I'm not a granter of passage. The passage grants itself.
Beneath the jolliness, he suddenly seems doubtful. If it's so simple, why did the scab leader warn you of the guards blocking the way?
Así de fácil,
Aye.
entro y ya.
Walk right past Measurehead and go in.
Pasar a
Yeah,
craniométrico.
the 2.5 meter tall Semini supremacist there. Walk right past him, then press the button to unlock the door. Then go past him
Ajá.
again. And you enter
Vale.
the arbor through the office. Está.
Así que estás diciendo que en realidad es bastante difícil.
Don't worry, I'm sure it's not completely impossible. Example, you could best Measurehead in a physical confrontation. Or you could convert to a Semini supremacist worldview. Or, maybe it actually is completely impossible.
¿Alguno de los esquiroles ha intentado convertirse a su
Jean-Luc
visión del
himself
mundo?
would say the philosophy has proven overly heroic for the scabs to convert to. Not enough intuition.
¿Alguien ha sido capaz de darle una
Not
buena
yet, no.
tunda?
He's incredibly strong.
Entiendo.
Sure.
Otra cosa. Ando un poco corto de dinero ahora mismo.
Sure
¿Puedes
thing, my
darme
friend.
algo?
I can help you out.
Agarraré. Intentar atrapar al bueno.
The coin narrowly slips by your outstretched fingers and falls to the ground.
Oh, I'm sorry.
right.
Didn't mean to throw it like that. It's a thing we harbor folk do, passing around cargo and such. Was not meant as provocation or ridicule.
The boy
Qué buena onda.
stares at you with respect, then gestures towards the trickles of blood adorning your clothes.
No decir nada,
Right,
guardar la
always
moneda.
glad to help out the RCM. We're on the same branch, you and I. Humans, I mean, not slithering scabs.
A propósito, ¿a qué
You
se
know,
debe la huelga?
serious business. I'm sure the big boss will be glad to tell you. You'll have to ask him first.
He's a chatty guy. Once talk about the strike. Return once you've met the union boss and are on a better footing with the organization.
Gracias por la charla, pero tengo que irme. ¡Achú! Tengo que pasar por ahí. ¿Qué es esto? Una nota. En caso de huelga, pulsar botón tras el guardia. Ok. ¿Y aquí qué dice? Ah, está cerrado. Bueno, ahorita vamos para allá. ¡Achú! Ah, perdón. Y nada más podemos hablar con el grandote. Bueno, lo dejamos hasta aquí y empezamos en el siguiente episodio. Ya se la saben, chicos, si no los veo, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Tomen agua y les mando un fuerte abrazo. Cuídense mucho. Hasta luego.